Unfortunately, the quarantine will be extended. Hello, my name is Kayla Barreto, and we are here to share with you guys a little bit more about what's going on here in Colombia. In one of our last videos, you can check it out right up here. We told you guys a little bit about what's going on with COVID, how it's affecting us, how it's affecting ministry, but as you know, things are very fluid. Things are changing, things are adapting kind of on a day-to-day basis. And so as things are adapting, we wanted to update you. We don't want to dwell on this topic. We don't want it to become the one thing that we talk about by any means, but we do want to keep you guys informed and updated on everything that's going on. So since our last video, the government has made a couple announcements. The first is that, unfortunately, the quarantine will be extended. So excited. No, unfortunately, the quarantine is going to be extended. Instead of it ending on May 11th, it will now end, supposedly, on May 25th. We're hoping that that is the actual case and it doesn't get extended again. But for right now, quarantine is until May 25th. So all of the things that we mentioned in our last video are still up to date. All of those things are still in place. However, they have made a few adjustments. And so we want to kind of cover some of the adjustments today. One of the things that we've noticed in my husband going out is that he's noticed that buses are taking some precautions and that stores are taking some precautions. These are not government mandated. The government isn't telling them to do this, but there's some things that we've noticed. So the buses, for instance, normally they have seats 2 by 2. So there's 2 sitting next to each other. But right now they have kind of blocked off 1 seat. So you can only have 1 person sitting per 2 seats. And that's to protect that person. But then they're also limiting the passengers. There are no standing passengers. So in a bus that normally would hold up to 100 people, because we cram them in like sardines here, in a bus that would normally hold tons and tons of people, they're only allowing people to enter the bus if there's an open seat. And so they can only sit 1 person per 2 seats. And so it really limits the amount of people that are able to travel at this time. The other thing is that stores are now taking temperatures. Now, it's not every store, but some of them have chosen to adopt this policy. Again, it's not a government policy, but they are now taking temperatures of the people that enter. And what's crazy about this particular store is that their policy is if you're running a fever, they will send you directly to the hospital. Like, it is against your will. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They just ship you off. So that's interesting that they've kind of put that into place. You've still got the only men are allowed to shop on odd days, only women on even days. So we've still got some of those restrictions, but they've now kind of put into place a few other things. Some of the other things that the government is doing is, as of May 11th, they're allowing different shops to open, which we are really excited and really hopeful for. So up until this point, almost everything has been closed except for supermarkets and pharmacies. But starting May 11th, they're going to allow clothing stores to open. They're going to allow like even pet toy stores to open, things like that. And they're going to allow like laundromats that do deliveries. So we're hoping that this really revives the economy a little bit and gives people jobs again. We have noticed a lot of financial need. As we mentioned before, my husband mentioned in the last video that people at the start were buying in bulk, and now they're buying the pure necessities, 1 or 2 things when they go shopping, because they don't have the means to buy more. And so we really are seeing a financial struggle. And so we're hoping that opening up more stores is going to allow for more economic movement in the country. We're really, really, really hopeful for that. We're also hoping that it kind of reduces a little bit of what we've seen of kind of abuse of power. And I want to make it clear that my country is not void of this either. There is no country in the world that is perfect, and we all have flaws. But one thing that my husband and I noticed kind of firsthand, it wasn't us, but it was our family going through it, was that the police here, unfortunately, have shown how corrupt they are. Now, it's not all police officers. It's not everyone by any means. But for instance, our family has various shops where they sell clothing, and they opened up their shops to sell like hand sanitizer and wipes and face masks and things like that, which legally they were allowed to sell those products, but their shop wasn't wasn't organized for those products. That wasn't their main clientele. And so the police came by and they were asking for bribe money. They're almost extorting our family members, asking for bribe money to let them keep their stores open to sell these products. And so unfortunately we saw kind of that corrupt side of the police here. And again, I'm not saying that it's only here, because I know that every country has issues and has challenges, but unfortunately that was something that was kind of brought to our attention during this time, and we're really hoping that as the president has made some decrees that we're allowed to open more shops, that maybe that'll stop this corruption as well. That's kind of the hope behind that. Some of the other things that we've noticed is that buses have started kind of roping off the driver's section from people coming close. They're only opening the middle and back doors instead of the front door, and so they're kind of taking some different precautions. But I think the biggest thing that we wanted to communicate to you guys in this video today is that some changes are happening. We are really excited and hopeful for the future because they are opening up some more shops. So pray for people, pray for the economy, pray for the families that are going through tough times. We are really, really hopeful that this is kind of the first step back to normalcy, the first step back to financial stability in this country here as well, here in Colombia. And so we're really hopeful for that. The only downside is, even though the president has opened up so many different stores and so many different businesses, unfortunately churches are still legally closed. So unfortunately at this point, they are kind of lumped in with a couple of other entities. Parks are closed, bars are closed, churches are closed, and so unfortunately we still are not allowed to meet as a congregation. So my husband and I are still putting together videos and sending them off to parents and kids, and hoping to reach people with God's word through the internet, through online means. But be praying, because we are super, super hopeful that when this all ends, when the church is finally allowed to meet and open its doors, we are praying that God just sparks a fire in the hearts of every congregation, that people come to know Christ, that it is an opportunity for them to really get to know Christ and get to know who God is. So we are praying that as quarantine hopefully comes to an end at the end of this month, that it'll really kind of spark a fire in churches to go out and to reach their communities, and maybe spark a fire in hearts to reach out and figure out who is God and visit those churches. And so pray with us. We are hopeful, we are excited, and we know that God has a big plan in all of this. We don't know what that is, but we trust in Him, and we just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update, and we hope that you guys are all well. We would love to know what kind of policies are going on in your areas, or how your church is doing. I know my home church in Colorado, for Memorial Day, they have an incredible, fun parking lot party planned, where everyone's going to stay in their cars. I don't know how it's going to work. I wish I could be there. But I would love to know what your churches are doing. How are you guys meeting together from far apart? But we love you all. We are so glad that we get to share with you, and we hope that you are well.